Hello again, and welcome to Grandpa's Shop. We're going to offer you some poetry today, as we always do. Oh, and we're not really sponsored by Carrier. It's just one of the hats I had out here in the shop that was reasonably clean. And so it got the call today, and I'll maybe have to go to some yard sales and find some other clean hats for future programs. We'll see. Today's poetry, I chose today's poetry for a common theme. It has to do with arrogance. Two very well-known poets, Percy Bysshe Shelley and Robert Browning. I'd like to read them to you and see if you have a reaction. Ozymandias is the title of the poem by Shelley. Ozymandias. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them, and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear: My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away. Percy Bysshe Shelley, Ozymandias. I got another poem that has to do with arrogance, and it's by Robert Browning, and it's called My Last Duchess. There are hints throughout this poem about the attitude of the speaker, who, by the way, is not necessarily the poet, but the person speaking the thoughts in this poem. My Last Duchess by Robert Browning. That's my last Duchess, painted on the wall, looking as if she were alive. I call that piece a wonder now. Fra Pandolf's hands worked busily a day, and there she stands. Would it please you sit and look at her? I said Fra Pandolf by design, for never read strangers like you that pictured countenance, the depth and passion of its earnest glance, but to myself they turned, since none pulls back the curtain but I, and seemed as they would ask me, if they durst, how such a glance came there. Sir, 'twas not her husband's presence only called that spot of joy into the Duchess's cheek. Perhaps Fra Pandolf chanced to say, Her mantle laps over my lady's wrist too much, or paint must never hope to reproduce that faint half-flush that dies along her throat. Such stuff was courtesy, she thought, and cause enough for calling up that spot of joy. She had a heart, how shall I say, too soon made glad, too easily impressed. She liked whate'er she looked on, and her looks went everywhere. I sir, 'twas all one. My favour at her breast, the drooping of the daylight in the west, the bough of cherries some officious fool broke in the orchard for her, the white mule she rode with round the terrace, all and each would draw from her alike the approving speech, or blush, at least. She thanked men, good, but somehow, I know not how, as if she ranked my gift of a 900-years-old name with anybody's gift. Who'd stop to blame this sort of trifling? even had you skill in speech, which I have not, to make your will quite clear to such an one, and say, just this or that in you disgusts me, here you miss or there exceed the mark, and if she let herself be lessoned so, nor plainly set her wits to yours forsooth, and made excuse, e'en then would be some stooping, and I choose never to stoop. Oh, sir, she smiled, no doubt, whene'er I passed her, but who passed without much the same smile? This grew. I gave commands, then all smiles stopped together. There she stands, as if alive. Wilt you please rise? We'll meet the company below, then. I repeat, the Count, your master's known munificence, is ample warrant that no just pretence of mine for dowry will be disallowed, though his fair daughter's self, as I avowed, at starting is my object. Nay, we'll go together down, sir. Notice Neptune, though, taming a sea-horse, thought a rarity, which Claus of Innsbruck cast in bronze for me. My Last Duchess by Robert Browning. Kinda makes you wonder what happened to his last Duchess and what is likely to happen to his next Duchess. It does set the wheels in motion. And to my way of thinking, it is the perfect picture of arrogance. All of these things that brought her joy, but his 900 years old name somehow to him seemed to warrant a greater joy. Well, I think that'll probably wind it up for Grandpa's Shop today. 2 poems on a common theme, arrogance. Part of the joy of poetry is joining with the poet and either agreeing or vehemently disagreeing with the theme that he has chosen for his poem. You decide.